And where are we right now? What's up next?
Basically, we're in a treatment stage right now, and what the first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify all of your compensation patterns. We've already identified the origin of the problem. Your nervous system isn't firing correctly to the muscles to stabilize you. Then there's damage caused by the muscles not doing their job. Where you feel the pain is nowhere near where we found the trigger point that is signaling that area to be in pain. And so right now, we're going to get into the treatment side. And the treatment side basically is a 10-treatment protocol. And we take you through the first 4 treatments, and they're designed to break your compensation pattern, increase your blood supply, drastically increase your muscular strength, because the muscles are going to be contracting at roughly 500 times a second. You're used to contracting them at 2 times a second. Obviously, that means you're going to be working harder than you've ever worked before in your entire life. So you're going to need to eat a lot of protein. You're going to need to drink a lot of water just to support the activity that we're going to be doing during the treatment. The treatment lasts about 15 minutes. And you'll come to us, basically, if you choose to, after this little exercise here, you'll come to us, and basically each session will be about 15 to 20 minutes. On your 5th treatment, you're done with treatment. Now we go to strength work. And the thing that you can't do right now without a great deal of pain is play golf. So what we're going to do is have you swing a golf club. And you're going to swing a golf club from a wedge all the way up to a driver at half speed. If you've got no pain above 2, you're going to swing from a wedge all the way up to a driver at full speed until you get pain. And no matter what happens, you can't fail or pass the test. It just tells us what you can and cannot do. So let's say you swing half speed all the way up to a driver and you're okay, you have no pain above 2. You get to, say, the 8-iron and you got pain above 2, you shut it down. So now we've got a baseline. We know at high velocity you can only get to the 8-iron from the wedge. So then the next step is give you another strength session. Now we take you right back out and give you the same test. I'd expect the 8-iron to go to a driver. Then the next day I'd expect the driver to go to 100 drivers, and then 150 drivers, and then 180 drivers, and then 250 drivers. By the time 10 treatments is done, you're out playing golf and never have a problem. That's what we're looking at. So the first thing I'm going to do is give you a couple of tests. Notice how common he's sitting in the chair. Notice how this leg is kicked out to the side. Notice how this leg is not underneath his hip. This leg is pretty straight. Notice how he's hanging on to here. Now we're going to ask him to stand up. So just stand up the way you normally do. Okay, now sit back down. Now let's see, what's the first thing you saw common? What did he do when he stood up? What's the first thing he did to stand up?
I don't know. What did he do?
He leaned forward, and he pushed off with his arms.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Okay, so stand up for us again. Okay, the first thing he did is lean forward. Second thing he did is push off with his arms, which means he's not using his legs because his brain knows his legs don't work. So now we're going to have you sit back down, and under no conditions can you ever stand up or sit down like that again. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put your feet in proper position. Always remember that if you're not at a right angle, you're in the wrong position. Your body is designed to work at right angles. So now that I know what your compensation pattern is and how you don't use your legs, I'm going to force you to use your legs to solve your upper back problem, which you think is a hip problem, which it isn't. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to turn the power up. And normally I'd turn it up, and this is what I normally say to you as a patient. The more you take, the more intensity you take, the faster we resolve this problem. So it cannot physically harm you. It's impossible to physically harm you, but it's going to be the most intense thing you've ever done in your life. It will not hurt, but it will be dramatically intense. So just for the show purposes here, I'm just going to take you up gradually, and then I'm going to have you move, but I'm going to help you move. Okay? And right now, I'm sending a signal into your muscles, okay? And tell me when it becomes a little bit intense. Right about there? Okay. Now, I want you to watch Common how his nervous system works. The very first movement that we ask him to do is going to be a laborious movement. So let's have you stand up. Okay, now sit back down. All right. Now, give me your hands. Now, instead of leaning forward and instead of having that foot cantered out that way and that one out like a duck, we're going to have them straight up in front of us like that, just directly in front, just like that, again. Okay, so now I want you to stand up and sit back down. Good. Now, notice how he used gravity to pull him down. He didn't pull himself down, he fell down. Okay, so next time you sit down, I want you to use this muscle back here and pull yourself into that chair. Use this muscle to push yourself out of the chair. One more. Go ahead. Now sit. Okay, now, on a scale of 1 to 10, the intensity that you're feeling in your back, scale of 1 to 10, what do you feel?
From the ARP, you mean?
Yeah.
From the ARP? 4 or 5?
4 or 5. So it's gone down considerably, hasn't it? Okay, the reason it went down is because without movement, you don't create what we call the pain reflex arc. Now, I don't know if you've ever had electrical stimulation from a chiropractor or from a medical doctor or an athletic trainer or whatever, but I'm going to tell you that they turn the power up. Remember when you said turn it down? I mean, that's intense, okay? Well, they just have you sit there. And it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse because you're not moving. So how can you break your movement pattern by sitting still? Does that make any sense to you?
Sure, yes, absolutely.
Does it make sense or not?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So now we're going to go over here and we're going to turn the power up. And you tell me when you can't tolerate it.
That's getting there.
Okay, good. Now let's have you stand up 5 times. Push into the ground, stand up. Much better. Pull down, stand up, pull down. Look where your arms are. There you go. Very good study. Now pull down. Don't lean back. Just push into the ground and pull down. Push into the ground, pull down, and sit. And what we would do, Common, is we would do this for, I'll turn it down now, we would do this for approximately 7 minutes on a normal polarity and another 7 minutes on a reverse polarity. So 15 minutes. Now let me put that into perspective for you if we have time. Common, do we have time?
About a minute and a half.
Okay. We're going to contract your muscles at 30,000 contractions per minute. It would take you at any fitness center a year to get 30,000 contractions in a single muscle body part. We're going to do it in 1 minute, and you're going to multiply that times 15 minutes. Imagine what you might need to eat to support that activity. So you do need to eat some more protein.
So now, after what's the next step after he does this? After he visits you, then he gets put on a protocol.
Yeah, we'll go through the program completely. You'll go through 10 sessions like this, not as abbreviated as this, of course. And then we will send you home with the ARP. And when we send you home with the ARP, we will give you step-by-step protocols. Our staff will work with you for the next 33 days in a strength recovery program. Because keep in mind, the problem right now is you've lost a lot of strength. And that's what we're going to rebuild after we fix the damage caused by the muscles not doing their job.
Don, some people might call you a guinea pig, but you don't look like one at all.
Thank you very much, Common. I appreciate that comment, especially when it's going to be aired on his website.
Thanks for coming in. We appreciate that. We got to go now. Dennis, again, if people would like to find, we want to thank Don for coming in. If people want to get in contact with you, all they have to do is go to arpwave.com. They can view this show right here. We're going to actually have it on video. And if they want some of the one of your staff to evaluate them or you, all they have to do is go to wavearp.com. Arpwave.com.
Exactly.
ARPP as in Paul, wave.com. That'll take care of it for this week. We'll be back next Sunday. You've been listening to the House of Pain here on The Fan. For more